Yo. CTB, Chin Tuck Boxing. I'm your boy Jay Slay. Say what up to him, man.
What's up, everybody? Remember to like, subscribe, comment, hit the notification button. Let's keep this channel growing. We love boxing and you love boxing.
Most definitely. This is the place where all the boxing fans come to get these delicious entrees of boxing knowledge. What's on the menu today for him, bro?
Let's talk about this Tyson Fury interview from yesterday.
Most definitely. Let's talk about it. Tyson Fury, if you haven't heard the news, Tyson Fury came out on it with an interview on my source is IFL TV. He gave an interview saying that the Wilder fight may be next. He might give quote Wilder a fair trilogy fight. Yeah, weird choice of words for that. Those are weird choice of words. Also, he said there's a lot of stuff going on behind the scenes that may force him to fight Wilder. All of this stuff we called, I think all this stuff we called out on our last show, didn't we? On
Yeah.
real SBS, then we call something like this happening.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought so too.
Mhm.
Well, we'll start from the video, man. What was your opinion? What was your thoughts on the video? And just let me know your overall thought of just how he playing his words. We'll say the Joshua talk for later. We'll stay with the Wilder situation right now, the Wilder talk. How you feel about what he said about Wilder?
I feel like I'm starting to think that the Wilder fight might be more of reality than actually the Joshua fight because of a whole lot of stuff. It might be because of promotional issues. It could be because of the pandemic. Because in the interview he said that he would never fight in UK again.
Yeah.
He pretty much came out and said that the mecca of boxing. I mean, not verbatim what he said, but pretty much he was saying the mecca of boxing is in the United States. He said fighting in Vegas and the Staples Center is a bigger platform than fighting in UK. So to me, he's also saying that he still believes that the Wilder fight is a bigger fight than Anthony Joshua fight. And on top of that, because of the contract they had for a third fight, he may have to fight Wilder first. So the last thing that was weird to me and was very telling was I would give him a fair trilogy fight. And I'm saying to myself, when he first said I didn't catch it, and then I went back and I listened to it again, and I would say fair trilogy fight. What would be an unfair fight?
Exactly.
Why we have to pick fair in it? Why just not a third fight, a trilogy fight with Wilder? Why fair? So when in the first two fights, what wasn't fair about the fight? So now I have questions. Sometimes the truth always come to light.
Sometimes it slip out your mouth. Sometimes
Yeah, slip out your mouth. You've been holding this lie so long, and you're talking so fast that you come out and say a fair fight. And I know people gonna try to, to defend it and say, "Oh man, he was just saying." I guess far as the money and this and that. No, fair. They don't have anything to do with the money split because it. You know what he meant when he said a fair trilogy fight.
Let's play it out of his own mouth. Let's let him hear it.
Yeah, let me see what y'all think when you hear it for yourself.
Let's let them hear it, and then they can determine for themselves what they think a fair third trilogy, a fair trilogy match is. Let's play it really quick.
I could have a fair trilogy with Wilder, yeah. Like I say, lost my concern. But Wilder, don't write Wilder off out the occasion either. He could be fighting me next. Who knows? I could have a fair trilogy with Wilder, yeah.
There you go. Out of Fury's own mouth, he said he could have a fair trilogy with Wilder next. So I have the same questions you have. Really, to be honest, was that a wrong play on words? Did he mean to say fair? Maybe it's like a language barrier with us. He is from the UK, so maybe it's a UK American breakdown of the English language barrier going on. But to us here, fair is, especially with all the allegations going on, I think fair is the wrong word to use.
Yeah.
at this point in time when it comes to that fight. But so I agree with you on that. But it's also something else he said in this video that caught my attention. He said that it was things going on behind the scenes that will make a Wilder Fury fight happen, and it was things that going on behind the scenes that were stopping the AJ Fury fight from happening. What do you think those things behind the scenes are, and you think we will ever get told the truth about what's behind the scenes?
Well, I think his business with Wilder isn't settled yet. So to avoid a lawsuit, I think fighting Joshua would put him in danger of a lawsuit. So he's treading very carefully with that. But also, once again, I ain't gonna get too far off subject. When it's a thing with PBC, I don't know what it is. When PBC doesn't deal with another promotional banner or company, they catch a lot of slack. But you know, Hearns and Bob Arum seems to be having trouble making a Joshua and Fury fight. So I mean, it's just something I want to tell people. Like when it comes to making a big fight with two different promotional banners, it's always going to be a tough fight to make because you're splitting money between two companies, two networks. So it's always going to be a lot more complicated when making those type of fights. So it was telling to me with that issue. I mean, how do you feel about it?
I agree with you 100%. But I also think I think Eddie Hearn and AJ are smart. They know that arbitration's going on between Wilder and Fury.
Mm-hmm.
They know that you really can't put in the media what's going on in it because they have a gag order on what's going on with it. So much so that a lot of the interviews that Bob Arum even had mentioned about it, they got pulled off the internet because of the gag order. So I'm thinking that's what's behind the scenes. I'm thinking the court cases would possibly making him consider a third fight with Wilder because there's so much at stake in that fight. Who knows? Maybe he could be getting stripped if he loses that case. There could be a thing in the back behind the scenes that's going on. It could be that AJ and Eddie don't think it's a good idea to fight him without the title being on the line, without Undisputed being on the line. It could be the whole fighting in the United States thing. It could be an issue. He did say he wasn't going to fight nowhere other than the mecca of entertainment, which is the United States. So maybe that could be behind the scenes what's stopping the fight. It's to me, it's a lot of different excuses going on that I feel that I knew was going to happen. That we pretty much called on our last episode. We called it. There's too much going on. Even if you don't believe that Wilder was cheated, even if you don't believe that Fury's not going to fight Joshua next, even if you don't believe those things, you have to look at the evidence that's being laid out in front of you, coming out of his own mouth, that Wilder is still being forced down. He pretty much being forced to fight Wilder, whether he wanted to or not. If he want to maintain his belt, if he want to stay in the American market, he's going to have to fight the biggest American champion, or the biggest American former champion. How you feel about that? You think that could be the case, or you think it's just too much other stuff that could be weighing him down?
I think you were right. You hit it on the bullseye. I think, you know what was really telling, and it stands out to me is he kept talking about the pandemic. He kept saying the pandemic. The fight just don't make sense. And we won't know until this passed by. Once this passed by, we'll be able to see where we at. But then he came back and said, I might can fight Wilder next. So what are you saying? Are you saying that you think Joshua and Fury is not bigger than Fury and Wilder fight? Because if it's a pandemic and you think it's going to affect it, why would you want to fight Wilder in a pandemic? But do you think you and Wilder is such a big fight that even in a pandemic you still will make a lot of money? Or are you using that as an excuse to not fight the Joshua fight? So there's a lot of bull crap that he had in that interview that stuck out to me, and he was all over the place, but it was telling to me about the situation at hand, and also to a lot of people out there that always think that Wilder is not a draw and he's not a big time fighter. And pretty much if you listen to the interview and you break it down, Fury was pretty much telling you that Wilder is the bigger fighter of the two, and that the UK market, and I have nothing against UK fans, I think they a great fan base. I think they support their fighters. I wish
Yeah.
our fan base would support our fighters the same way the UK do.
Most
But
definitely.
but Fury was saying pretty much in a nutshell that that market is nowhere near as big as the American market, and that the American fan, the American market is the best place for making the most money.
Yeah.
So I think he wants to fight Joshua for undisputed, but he may still want to fight Wilder before he fights Joshua because it's about making money. And I think with me, Fury is on the outs. I think he's already thinking retirement plan. So he's trying to get the biggest paychecks and make the most money he can make before he gets out the sport. So that's what I came up with it.
Okay, I agree with all of that. I agree with all of that. I've been thought he was on his way out. I've been thought his whole plan was. I'm not saying he cheated. I'm not saying he didn't. I feel he cheated, but I'm not going to say that he did. So I'm gonna say allegedly he cheated. I really felt that he thought that no one was going to notice, and if he did have to fight Wilder a third time, he would have to pull something else out of his hat. But I think he was trying to pull out the Wilder fight because once the microscope was on it, once the microscope was like everybody on YouTube was talking about it. It's in the main media, even though the main media chop it up, it's just Wilder making excuses. It was still in the news. So with all that being in the news, he all of a sudden then saying he wasn't going to fight Wilder again. But that only elevated that fight even more and made that fight even more of a demand. So now that fight is a large demand, which I've been feel was gonna be bigger than a Joshua Fury anyway. But now that fight is, especially in the United States market, is such a high demand fight. He's pretty much been forced by Bob Arum, who's his promoter. He's been forced into actually looking into fighting Wilder a third time because of the money that's on the line. Because whether people want to admit it or not, Bob Arum is still his promoter. He still, at some point, in some form or fashion, he still has to listen to what Bob Arum says. It's the same with AJ and Eddie. If AJ do want to fight Wilder, if AJ do want to fight Fury, and Eddie Hearn said no because there's too much going on with Fury right now, that's not a good fight for you, then AJ has to wait because that's what his promoter said. So with that being said, whether you love or hate the situation, you just have to let it play out. Me personally, I don't really care which fight play off. I want Wilder to get his revenge, but I also wouldn't mind seeing Fury AJ. I want to see all three of these guys fight each other.
Yeah.
As a boxing fan.
So tell me, I'm asking you the question. When it comes to Fury, if you had to put your last dollar on it, is he going to fight Wilder next? Is he going to fight Joshua next? Or is he going to fight, some no-name, tune-up type fight?
I will put my money on a no-name. I'll make a double bet, I guess you call it. I bet on two cards. I bet on Wilder happening, and I bet on the underdog fight, I guess you can say, before I bet on the AJ fight. I think even in the beginning of the interview, he was saying that he wasn't working out anymore. He was drinking beer again and all that other stuff. He said in the beginning of it. So he's probably not even in shape. So you probably gonna want to tune up fight to get back in shape and all the other stuff. So this probably be the easier bet to make, in my. Or it depends. Like I said, if there is a court case going on behind the scenes, and Wilder is forcing a third fight, it has to be immediate. The contract said immediate third fight, so you can't have no fight in between that. So you have to bet on that also. What you think about it?
I'm pretty much on the same page as you. I think it will be Wilder next, but legally, if he has to fight Wilder, they may make a contract where he can fight of a tune-up fight. He won't allow him to fight Joshua, I know that, but he may allow him to get a warm-up fight with it being in the contract that his next fight will have to be Wilder. And Wilder might allow him to do that, and Wilder might do the same thing. He might say, well, I'm going to take a tune-up fight too, you take a tune-up fight, and under contract, we must fight each other next legally by what the contract say. So
I'm sorry to cut you off, but you really think Wilder team will go for that again? Because they had a contract now saying that it was an immediate fight, and they now have to go do a legal route. And they have to go do arbitration on the route to even get him to honor that contract. So you really think Wilder's team is going to say, okay,
Yeah, that's a good point.
We beat you in court. We beat you in court this time, so we're gonna make another contract saying,
That's a good
yeah, you get a warm up, I get a warm up, but then we fight after that.
Yeah, that's a good point.
If I'm Wilder's team, if I'm Wilder's advisor, I would tell him, no, you had to hop on it now. You had to fight him now.
So if that's true, we probably not going to get a Wilder or Fury fight, whoever they fight, till probably the end of the year.
I don't think so. I mean, the June date, I think it's dead. The June date, I think he said first he said he was gonna fight in December. Now then he said it's gonna be in February, and now I think he said his target is June or something. He's talking in June for AJ Fury fight. That's pretty much out of the window. There's no time to promote that fight or nothing. So you have to look towards maybe September.
Yeah, I'm thinking.
Yeah, maybe towards September.
And the country's trying to go back to normal.
Yeah,
I would think September will be the fight for Wilder and Fury.
Yeah,
at the earliest.
Even right now, Texas is open 100%. So even if they can't fight in like a Vegas or LA, because they still shut down to some degree, Texas is wide open. Texas is 100% open. Texas has one of the biggest stadiums in America, at the Dallas Cowboys Stadium. So if I'm there, I'll try to put that fight there. To be honest, you'll make hella merchandise. You'll make hella ticket sales, and people craving for this fight. If you don't put the price range at like a $75 or $80 price range, put it at $50, $60, you'll sell millions of pay-per-view just on that price point alone.
Can you already imagine the backstory, the build up to this fight?
It's still itself. Yeah, it's already sold, man. It's already packaged up and sold, man. All they gotta do is put the bow on it and call it the present, and put it out here. But it's how you got anything else to want to add to it?
No, I think we covered everything.
This is a hard topic to let go. It seems like for the last year, no matter how much you try to talk about other stuff, it seems like Wilder and Fury is going to come up on your radar. No matter how you try to talk about other boxing, other boxers, this topic is going to happen. So I don't know why you just don't let the fight happen. If Fury said it was easy, he beat him, do it again. Like as a boxing fan.
He said it in an interview.
He said in an interview, exactly.
Yeah.
He said it was a Kate Wall. He gave him a bashing. I think the words were. I gave him a thrashing or a bashing, or something like that. Beat him again. Like I don't know, but that's how I see it, man. Let us know how you think. What you think about it? Let us know if you think we're Wilder fanboys and we just talking bullshit. Let us know if you think AJ Fury really gonna happen. Let us know if you think that Wilder is gonna get the fight. Let us know you think AJ. After I seen somebody say not AJ, but Fury's running from AJ. I actually seen that in one of the comments of this video. A lot of the UK fans are mad saying that AJ's running, Fury's running from AJ now. Let us know in the comment section what you think. Again, the source is in the description of the video. With that being said, CTB, Chin Talk Boxing. I'm your boy Jay Slay. And I'm out here, man.
All right, everybody. Like, subscribe, notification button, comment. Let's keep this channel growing. We're going to continue to give you this top content on boxing. And most of all, we love boxing and you love boxing. Peace and love. We out of here.